Every human being carries an invisible companion, a ceaseless stream of mental chatter that narrates, critiques, and dictates our experiences. For many, this internal voice feels like an intrinsic part of who they are, an essential guide that shapes their perceptions and decisions. However, this companion is often far from helpful. Instead of offering clarity, it sows doubt, fear, and dissatisfaction, subtly shaping how we experience the world. The relentless voice begins its day-long monologue the moment we wake up. Before your feet touch the floor, it has already set the tone for your day. It may replay a heated conversation from the day before, reminding you of what you should have said or done differently. It forecasts anxieties about the day ahead, presenting scenarios where you fall short or face challenges. By the time you brush your teeth, this voice has already crafted a narrative, and often, it's not a positive one. What's even more startling is that we rarely question this voice. Most people live their entire lives assuming it represents their true self. This is who I am, they think. But here lies the liberating truth: the voice in your head is not you. It is not your identity, nor does it define your essence. It is a mental construct, a tool that has taken on the role of master rather than servant. The illusion of the voice. Why do we believe the voice in our head is us? This identification stems from a lifelong conditioning process. From childhood, we're taught to trust our thoughts, to analyze and interpret every experience. We're encouraged to plan, strategize, and problem solve, functions that rely on this mental voice. Over time, we mistake this internal commentary for who we are. We believe that the voice represents our identity, our personality, and our sense of self. But this is an illusion. The voice is not your essence, it is a byproduct of the mind. It operates like a computer program, processing information, drawing conclusions, and projecting narratives. While this can be useful for practical tasks, it becomes problematic when we allow it to dominate our inner world. The harmful nature of endless chatter. The voice in your head is not neutral. Left unchecked, it often leans toward negativity, fear, and self-doubt. It critiques your every move, magnifies your mistakes, and fills your mind with endless what-ifs. This constant inner dialogue creates a mental environment that is anything but peaceful. It's like living with a roommate who never stops complaining or criticizing. Consider the impact this voice has on your daily life. You might hesitate to take a risk because the voice warns of potential failure. You might feel inadequate because it compares you to others. Even moments of joy can be overshadowed by the voice's insistence that it won't last or isn't deserved. This internal chatter not only robs you of peace but also limits your ability to fully engage with life. The breakthrough: recognizing the voice is not you. The first step in breaking free is recognizing that the voice is not your true self. This realization is profound and transformative. It's as if a veil is lifted, revealing a new dimension of awareness. For the first time, you see the voice for what it is, a habitual mental process, not an intrinsic part of your being. This awareness creates space. Instead of being swept away by the voice, you can step back and observe it. You begin to notice patterns, the way the voice clings to the past, anticipates the future, and avoids the present. You see how it magnifies trivial matters and creates problems where none exist. This observation is not about judgment or suppression, it's about understanding. When you understand the nature of the voice, its grip on you begins to loosen. The liberating power of disidentification. Disidentifying from the voice is a gateway to freedom. When you realize that the voice is not you, its criticisms lose their sting. Its fears no longer paralyze you. You see its narratives for what they are, stories, not truths. This shift in perspective allows you to approach life with greater clarity and calm. Imagine standing in a crowded room filled with noise and chaos. Suddenly, you step outside into a quiet garden. The contrast is striking. This is what it feels like to disidentify from the voice. The mental noise subsides, and you find yourself in a space of stillness and peace. From this place, you can engage with life more authentically, free from the distortions of incessant chatter. Practical steps to break free. Breaking free from the voice within is a process that requires practice and patience. Here are some practical steps to begin this journey. Awareness. Start by noticing the voice. Pay attention to its tone, content, and patterns. Is it critical? Fearful? Repetitive? Simply observing the voice without judgment creates distance between you and it. Pause and reflect. When the voice becomes overwhelming, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, who is listening to this voice? This question shifts your focus to the observer, the deeper presence within you. Practice mindfulness. Engage in activities that anchor you in the present moment, such as meditation, yoga, or mindful breathing. These practices help quiet the voice and connect you with your true self. Challenge the narratives. When the voice tells a story, question its validity. Is this thought based on fact or fear? Does it serve you? Often, simply questioning the voice diminishes its power. Cultivate stillness. Set aside time each day to simply be. Sit in silence, observe your breath, and allow the mind to settle. In this stillness, you'll discover the presence that exists beyond thought. Embracing a new way of being. As you begin to break free from the voice within, you'll notice a profound shift in your life. Challenges will still arise, but they won't overwhelm you. Instead of reacting to the voice's commentary, you'll respond from a place of calm and clarity. Joy, creativity, and connection will naturally emerge as the mental chatter subsides. The journey to freedom is not about silencing the voice completely. That's neither possible nor necessary. It's about changing your relationship with it. When you recognize the voice for what it is, you reclaim your power and step into the truth of who you are, a being of infinite peace, presence, and potential. The cage of chatter. The mind's chatter is so pervasive, so persistent, that it becomes an invisible cage, one that restricts our experiences, limits our possibilities, and distorts our reality. Unlike physical cages made of metal or stone, this one is built from intangible yet powerful elements: thoughts, judgments, fears, comparisons, and internalized narratives. Yet its impact on our lives is profound, shaping how we see ourselves and the world around us. From a young age, we are taught to rely heavily on our thoughts. Society, education, and culture place immense value on intellect and reasoning. We are encouraged to analyze, solve problems, and plan for the future. While these skills are undoubtedly useful, they come with a hidden cost: over-reliance on the mind's voice. This inner dialogue becomes our default way of navigating life, and over time, we begin to identify with it completely. The bars of this mental cage are formed by recurring patterns of thought. Every time you compare yourself to someone else, you reinforce a belief in inadequacy. Every time you judge yourself harshly for a mistake, you strengthen the narrative that you are flawed. Every time you dwell on a fear of the future, you solidify the idea that life is unpredictable and dangerous. These repeated patterns create a psychological prison that confines your sense of self and stifles your potential. The constant disruption of stillness. Imagine sitting beside a perfectly calm lake on a still, clear day. The water reflects the sky above, mirroring the vastness of the heavens and the beauty of the surrounding landscape. Now, imagine throwing a pebble into that lake. The ripples disturb the surface, distorting the reflection. Suddenly, the lake no longer mirrors the sky but instead reveals only turbulence and chaos. This is what the voice in your head does to your mind. It is the pebble that disrupts the natural stillness and clarity of your inner world. When the mind is quiet, you can see reality as it truly is, clear, expansive, and full of possibilities. But when the mind is filled with relentless chatter, it creates distortions that obscure the truth and keep you trapped in cycles of doubt, fear, and dissatisfaction. The pain body, the shadow self. Eckhart Tolle introduces the concept of the pain body, which is closely tied to this mental cage. The pain body is an accumulation of unresolved negative emotions and internalized narratives that feed on repetitive thought patterns. It thrives on replays of past grievances, imagined future disasters, and harsh self-criticism. Each time you engage with these thoughts, you strengthen the pain body, making it a more dominant force in your life. The pain body acts like a shadow self, an illusion that feels real but is not. It is the part of you that believes the negative stories your mind tells. It convinces you that you are unworthy, inadequate, or broken. The more you identify with these narratives, the stronger the pain body becomes, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of suffering. How the cage limits your life. The mental cage doesn't just restrict your sense of self, it also limits how you engage with the world. Here are some of the ways this happens. Judgment and comparison. The voice in your head constantly compares your life to others, leading to feelings of jealousy, inadequacy, or superiority. Instead of appreciating your unique journey, you become trapped in a cycle of judgment and dissatisfaction. Fear of the future. The mind loves to project worst-case scenarios, making you fearful of what lies ahead. This fear prevents you from taking risks, pursuing your dreams, or fully embracing opportunities. Regret and resentment. The voice replays past mistakes and grievances, keeping you anchored in regret and resentment. Instead of learning from the past and moving forward, you remain stuck in a loop of what could have been. Overthinking and paralysis. When faced with decisions, the mind often analyzes every possible outcome, leading to overthinking and indecision. This paralysis keeps you from taking action and moving forward. Emotional reactivity. The voice magnifies small irritations into major frustrations. For example, a traffic jam becomes a story about wasted time and disrespect, fueling unnecessary anger and stress. The truth about the voice. Here's the liberating truth: the voice in your head is not reality. It is a filter that distorts reality, much like a cracked mirror distorts the image it reflects. Plato's allegory of the cave provides a powerful metaphor for this. In the story, prisoners in a cave see shadows on the wall and mistake them for reality because they've never seen the true source of light. Similarly, the voice in your head creates shadows, projections of reality that are far removed from the truth. The situations themselves are rarely the cause of your unhappiness. It's your thoughts about them that create suffering. A missed opportunity, a harsh word, or a delay in plans only becomes a source of pain when the voice spins a story around it. Recognizing this is the first step toward freedom. Observing the voice without engaging. The moment you become aware of the voice, you create a gap between yourself and the chatter. This gap is crucial because it allows you to observe the voice rather than identifying with it. When you observe, you begin to see the patterns, the repetitive nature of its judgments and fears. You realize that the voice is not you, it is simply a function of the mind. Imagine the voice as background noise on a radio. It's there, but you don't have to focus on it. You can let it play without engaging, without attaching meaning to its commentary. This practice of observation weakens the power of the voice and creates space for stillness and clarity to emerge. Steps to escape the cage. Awareness. The first step is to notice the voice. Pay attention to when it arises and what it says. Is it critical, fearful, or repetitive? Awareness is the foundation of change. Detach. Remind yourself that the voice is not you. It is a mental habit, not your identity. This understanding creates the space needed to observe it without attachment. Focus on the present. Shift your attention away from the voice by grounding yourself in the present moment. Notice your breath, the sensations in your body, or the sights and sounds around you. The present is where stillness resides. Let go of judgment. Avoid judging the voice or trying to fight it. Fighting only gives it more power. Instead, accept it as part of the human experience and let it pass without resistance. Practice silence. Set aside time each day to sit in silence. This doesn't mean forcing the mind to stop talking, but creating a space where you can simply be. Over time, this practice deepens your connection to the still observer within. By recognizing the mental cage for what it is, a construct of thoughts and narratives, you begin to dismantle it. The bars weaken, the space widens, and the stillness of your true self shines through. You're no longer confined by the chatter. Instead, you step into a life of clarity, peace, and freedom. Discovering the still observer. One of the most profound realizations on the journey to self-awareness is the recognition that you are not your thoughts. Beneath the incessant chatter of the mind lies a quiet, stable presence, the still observer. This presence is the essence of who you are, untouched by the turbulence of your thoughts and emotions. The still observer is the part of you that notices the voice in your head without being entangled in it. It is the you that remains when all labels, identities, and narratives fall away. Unlike the mental voice, which analyzes, judges, and narrates, the observer simply perceives. It doesn't react to thoughts or feelings. It watches them come and go, much like clouds drifting across a clear sky. This concept of the observer is universal, appearing in spiritual traditions and philosophical teachings across the world. In Hinduism, it is known as the Atman, the eternal self that exists beyond the physical and mental realms. In Christianity, it is akin to the still small voice of God, a divine essence that resides within every soul. Taoism describes it as the Tao, the effortless flow of existence that moves through all things. The observer is not something you acquire or create, it is something you uncover. It has always been there, patiently waiting beneath the surface noise of the mind. The act of discovering it is not an intellectual exercise but a shift in awareness, a realization that you are more than the sum of your thoughts, emotions, and experiences. How to access the observer. Pause and notice. Begin by pausing in moments of mental activity. When you feel overwhelmed or caught up in a narrative, take a deep breath and ask yourself, who is noticing these thoughts? This simple question shifts your focus from the content of your thoughts to the awareness behind them. Practice meditation. Meditation is one of the most effective tools for connecting with the observer. By sitting in stillness and observing your breath or bodily sensations, you create a space where the observer can emerge. Over time, this practice deepens your connection to the stillness within. Engage in mindful activities. Activities like walking in nature, painting, or even cooking can bring you into the present moment, where the observer naturally resides. The key is to engage fully with the task at hand, letting go of mental distractions. Release identification with thoughts. Recognize that your thoughts are not your identity. They are transient, like waves on the surface of the ocean, while the observer is the vast, unchanging depth beneath. The liberation of the observer. When you connect with the still observer, you experience a profound sense of freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of your thoughts or emotions. You see them for what they are, passing phenomena, not ultimate truths. This detachment doesn't mean you suppress or ignore your thoughts. Rather, you allow them to exist without defining you. From this place of awareness, you gain clarity and resilience. Challenges no longer overwhelm you because you understand that they are temporary. You can respond to life's difficulties with grace and wisdom, guided by the calm presence of the observer. This connection to your deeper self transforms how you experience the world, replacing fear and doubt with peace and confidence. Freedom through stillness. Stillness is often misunderstood as a passive or an active state. In reality, it is a dynamic and vibrant presence, a space where clarity, creativity, and peace flourish. To experience freedom through stillness is to rediscover the natural state of your being, unclouded by the distractions of the mind. Stillness is not the absence of sound or activity, it is the presence of awareness. It is the quiet center within you that remains unaffected by the noise of the world. Imagine standing in the eye of a hurricane. While chaos swirls around you, the center is calm and undisturbed. This is the essence of stillness, a stable anchor in the midst of life's storms. Rumi, the Sufi poet, captured this beautifully when he wrote, "Silence is the language of God, all else is poor translation." In silence, you connect with the divine essence within you, the part that is infinite, eternal, and whole. How stillness transforms life. When you cultivate stillness, you begin to see life with greater clarity. The mental chatter that once obscured your vision fades into the background, revealing the truth of the present moment. Colors appear more vibrant, sounds more distinct, and experiences more vivid. You no longer rush through life, caught in a stream of worries and distractions. Instead, you savor each moment, fully present and alive. Stillness also transforms your relationships. When your mind is quiet, you can truly listen to others without projecting your judgments or concerns. This deep presence fosters genuine connection and empathy, allowing you to relate to others from a place of authenticity and compassion. Practices to cultivate stillness. Mindful breathing. Begin with a simple practice of mindful breathing. Focus on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. Each breath becomes a reminder of the present moment, drawing you into stillness. Body awareness. Pay attention to the sensations in your body. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the rhythm of your heartbeat. This anchors you in the now and quiets the mind. Engage with nature. Spend time in natural settings, such as forests, mountains, or by the ocean. Nature has a way of drawing you into stillness, reminding you of the larger rhythms of life. Let go of control. Stillness arises when you stop trying to control every aspect of your life. Trust the flow of existence and allow things to unfold naturally. As Lao Tzu wrote, "Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear?" The freedom found in stillness. Stillness is not something you achieve, it is something you remember. It is your natural state, always present beneath the surface noise of the mind. The more you practice returning to this stillness, the more it becomes a way of being. In stillness, you find freedom, not freedom from life's challenges, but freedom within them. You discover that peace is not something you seek externally, it is something you cultivate internally. This inner peace transforms how you experience the world, replacing fear and anxiety with trust and presence. The journey to stillness is a lifelong practice, but every moment spent in its presence brings you closer to the truth of who you are. It is in this stillness that you find your true self, your infinite potential, and your unshakable connection to the divine. The whisper of stillness. The journey to freedom is not about silencing the voice in your head or conquering the chaos of life. It is about discovering the stillness that has always been within you. This stillness is not an absence but a profound presence, a space where the noise fades and the truth of who you are shines through. In this stillness, you reconnect with the essence of life. The world no longer feels heavy or overwhelming, for you see it with fresh eyes and an open heart. You are no longer a prisoner of thoughts and fears but a participant in the infinite dance of existence. And in this dance, every moment, every breath, and every experience becomes a reflection of the beauty and wholeness you carry within. This is the whisper of stillness, a quiet reminder that beyond the noise, beyond the stories, there is peace, clarity, and boundless love. It is always there, waiting for you to listen,